All right, so let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unleash the Power of Power Tables integrated with Salesforce. This is another webinar brought to you by the Titan Rockstar team. We are so excited to host this today. My name is Paige Sine. I am the Customer Success Manager here at Titan.
I'm Yaron Oles, and I'm on the Professional Services team here at Titan.
And today we are going to be focusing on, you guessed it, the power of power tables, bidirectionally integrated with Salesforce. We are so excited to show you some examples today of how you can revolutionize your Salesforce data flow, both inside Salesforce and outside of Salesforce. So the biggest takeaway for today is that you can use power tables not only outside of Salesforce for your customers or contractors, but you can also use it to create ease and flexibility of workflows for your employees inside Salesforce too. So as part of our introduction, I would like to talk a little bit about who we are at Titan and the product that are available in the Titan package. Yaron, can you share a little bit about what Titan is and our specialties with integrating with Salesforce?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see here we have a number of different apps or products that we have here at Titan. We have our Titan Forms, where you can create some really unbelievable forms with custom logic, and that integrates with Salesforce. We can create web apps, landing pages, portals, and totally create a web page, all from our Titan Web. We also can do documentation, creating contracts, proposals, quotes, invoices with dynamic data from Salesforce, and you can generate that from Salesforce as well. We also have Titan Sign, which we can create signing processes where you can send over a contract and have several different people dynamically part of a signing process. And we also have Titan Survey, where you can create really intricate surveys, leading your users down different paths depending on their replies, on how they respond to that survey. And again, all of these products are dynamically integrated with Salesforce, and you're able to read and write data. And we have some more apps in the work, like Titan Commerce, which is already available, and our Titan Bot as well, and much more coming.
Thank you, Yaron. So if anyone has any questions about the Titan platform in general, just go ahead and ask in the comments, and one of our Titan team members will be able to follow up with you guys afterwards about what Titan offers. So where are we going today? What are we going to be doing today in this webinar? We're going to just show you a few out-of-the-box examples to help solve the common pain points in any company. We'll start with a quick introduction into power tables, just to show you a little bit about what they are and what they can do. And then we're going to take it a little bit deeper and dive into 4 out-of-the-box strategies to really maximize your data workflow with power tables. And then afterwards, we're going to answer any questions that you guys have, any ideas that you want to throw at us. We really want to let your imaginations run wild while we are presenting, and then we can answer any questions to help you build out those killer solutions for your company. So Yaron, can you share with us a little bit about the power table, a general overview, and why it's useful for bidirectional integration with Salesforce?
Yeah, absolutely. So power tables are just this really incredible, robust tool that's only available on Titan Web. Using a power table, we're able to read data from multiple objects in Salesforce, as well as update and create records in real time. So on the surface, power tables are just this really clean, easy way to display and edit multiple records from Salesforce on a well-organized table. But the real power and the real amazing thing about the power tables is the ability to drill down. And what I mean by drill down is click on a single record, like you see in this picture here. Clicked on Jameson, this family Jameson, and under that be able to see multiple records that are related to this parent record. So on top of my ability to, basically what I'm doing here is creating a table within a table where I can see all these related records. And beyond being able to read from multiple objects, I can also update these records in real time and give my end users the ability to inline edit multiple records from multiple objects all in one convenient place. So of course, there's much more we can do with power tables than what I've mentioned, such as setting conditions on a power table to maybe organize my data by color, or configure an on-click action on my power table to perhaps send an email, or maybe even conditionally hide and show certain columns on my power table. And we can do all this and much more with power tables, and we're going to try our best to demonstrate some of these capabilities here today. So Paige, why don't you take it away?
Very well said, Yaron. All right, so now it's time to power up and drill down into our examples today. We're going to be showing you how to conditionally select and identify records through a power table, how to use it to quick update in Lightning Web Components, or bulk create and bulk update records even, and then drill down or view or create related records to an existing record. So I'm going to get started, and then I'll let Yaron take it over with his cool examples. And yeah, just let your imaginations run wild, think of some questions, and then we'll really spend some time to address all of your ideas at the end. So here is my Salesforce environment. I'm looking at my contacts, and I can see that I have some yoga students in this list view. They're identified because they all have this field yoga student checked off. And the idea is, what if we wanted to be able to see all this data, but not in Salesforce, whether it's because it's someone who doesn't have a license that works for you, or a client or something. We are able to use the power table to view this data outside of Salesforce too. All right, so here is my example. And let's say that I am a yoga teacher at this yoga studio. As a yoga teacher, I am now able to see all the same data that we saw as a licensed user in Salesforce. So here are my 17 yoga students that we saw right here in this list view. Now, what's really cool about this setup is that my yoga teacher can seamlessly filter or sort our yoga students by their membership status here, or student level, beginner, intermediate, advanced, or even the course progress. So we can see it different ways that this end user is able to seamlessly find the data that they're looking for, and they can use this data to send an email to somebody if we'd like, or really do any number of actions. And then what's really cool about this situation is that I also set up a condition to show all of the overdue payments, and also conditionally set the color here so that my yoga teacher can very easily see which yoga students are behind on their overdue payments. Then they can act upon that information that they have found. So it's a really cool way to use the power table to connect your data with people outside of Salesforce.
Paige, if you don't mind, can I ask you actually a question here? I see here that we're able to view all this data and even organize it in a really beautiful way. Would I be able to edit this data from your power table?
Yes. So let me show you guys how quick it is for us to make this data editable. So by clicking on my power table here, I can go to settings and then edit the mapping and all the columns in my power table, and it gives us the option to allow edit for any column that we want. So I'm not going to let them edit the student's full name, but I'll go ahead and set it for student level and everything else. Very quickly, just turning this on for all of our rows. And then I can click apply. And now let's preview this new power table feature. So we can see all of our students again, but unlike before, we now have this very familiar pencil icon, and I can click on it and be able to change the status of the students or the student level. Even the payment status. set it for
That's
overdue.
really awesome. Can I ask, how long does it take for once you do that on the table, how long does it take for it to update in Salesforce, or do you have to hit some extra button to make it update in Salesforce?
No, so it's being updated in real time, and I can show you that as well. So for one, we kind of edited Rose, Sean, and Jack. We can see when we refresh in here that our students have the changes have been reflected in Salesforce. But let's do this again closely so we can watch this. So for Jack Rogers, let's make his class go from 1 class completed to 2 classes completed. So let's look at and it was Jack Rogers, and we can see that instantly 2 classes is completed. I didn't have to click submit or anything else. I was just able to update it really quickly, and then those changes were reflected in Salesforce. Really cool
Awesome.
stuff here. So that brings me to my next example, and I'm really excited to show you guys this example because it's something that comes up a lot for different organizations and companies in a variety of different ways. So the same yoga teacher can come in here and see all of her students. And this time we were able to select different students and then report that they attended a certain yoga class. So here I will set my yoga class, beginner class 3. Let's just say when this class started, and we'll say it started at 11 a.m. today. And then I can even assign myself as an instructor. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a few yoga students that attended this class today. There we go. And then when we click submit, now I have created 6 different records in Salesforce for these yoga students. So I made a custom object called event attendances. And here we can see our 6 beginner class 3 records that were created in an instant. And we didn't have to create all of these in Salesforce one by one, which would be very tedious to go to new and create a new one for each one of the students that attended. But now I have created 6 records, identical records for these 6 yoga students that attended my class today. Pretty cool stuff.
That's awesome. Would you be able to update existing records, or you're only able to just create new records in bulk in that way? Meaning, can I bulk update records?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways that we can bulk update records. So one way that I will show you today, first we're going to do the same thing that we did before. Let me go to my new page. We're going to do the same thing that we did before, where we allowed inline edit for each of these columns. And then I'm also going to go to interactivity and click allow quick update. So now when my yoga teacher comes to this page, she will already see that she can change the status for all of her students at one time. And that is a great way to allow bulk updating or quick updating in your Power Tables.
Really cool.
Awesome. All right, you ready to take over, Yaron?
Sure. I don't know if I can follow that page, but I'll do my best. Okay, so we'll start things off here in Salesforce. You can see that I'm on an account record, a specific record, Titan and Titan. And on my record, I have a few things going on here. You'll notice that I have a number of contacts related to this account. I also have a number of opportunities related to my account. And I have a number of cases related to my account. And this is really nice and convenient for me because I can see all my related records on this one account. What's not so nice is that I can't really update these records without going into them. And I would need to actually click on one of these records and then edit it from that specific record. And it would be pretty tedious if I needed to update several contacts or several opportunities. The other difficulty I have here and pain point that I'd be struggling with is I can see my opportunities here, but I can only see one level of relationship deep, meaning I can see my account and I can see the opportunities under it, but I can't see related records under my opportunities, such as maybe products or, let's say contact roles, things of that nature. So, I decided to add a little tab here called Titan PT. And here I've got a Lightning Web Component that is holding one of my projects, which is a power table. And it actually has drill down for opportunity, contact, and cases. And not only can I go one level deep, but I can actually go as far as I would really like to take this thing. So in this case, I've gone from account to opportunity down to contact roles, let's say, or down to products. And I could theoretically just keep on going deeper as long as there's a relationship between my two objects. I can keep drilling down. And so just from this parent object of account being on this one account, I can now view all these related objects. And not only can I view them, but I can actually update them. And I can update them really quickly. So I'm able to, change, let's say, the stage here of a few of my opportunities as I want to. And I can click submit, and all these records are updating all at once. And I'll just show you, just for those who might not believe the magic here. Let's check out this record. And we just updated this record to a value proposition. Sorry, excuse me. We updated this one, Hong Kong, to prospecting, which is what you can see here in the update for Titan Hong Kong. So really just, easy to update, and I can view all these different records, and I'm able to easily drill down into related records and all these different objects all in one convenient place. And of course, this can exist as a tab here, and we can really put it anywhere here on my page layout. Now this could be good if I'm just wanting to look at one specific record, but let's say I want to look at all of my accounts, or at least my top 10 accounts. So I also built one of these over here on my homepage here on my dashboard, where I can actually view my accounts, and just the same, I can drill down to the opportunities, the contact roles, the products, and for any of these, I'm able to see if they have related contacts, and I can easily search for those contacts to make sure that I'm finding the contact that I want. I can also search by email to make sure that I'm getting the contact that I want. And again, I can of course update these records as well. So this is just kind of making that Salesforce user's life a lot easier, all within Salesforce. So I can still access the things I need to access in Salesforce, but I can do it all from one place and in a really easy, really beautiful way.
Yeah, I think that's something that we forget about a lot of times, is that it is available to be installed as a Lightning Web Component. How hard is it to install that Lightning Web Component? I've never done that before, so are you able to show us?
Yeah, that's actually super easy, and I'll just start a new project just to do it from scratch, so maybe we can get the full experience of creating a power table and a Lightning Web Component here. So if I go over to tables and I throw in, let's do for this one a contact, since we did last time an account, and I'm going to pull in, let's just say that I want to do it from the specific contacts like I had here for a specific account. So what I'll do is I'll create a variable on my project that I'm going to call a contact ID. And this essentially is going to be, the Salesforce is going to pass this contact ID to this variable. So I want to say that my contact ID equals my variable contact ID. And I'll throw in a couple of fields here. Let's say a full name of the contact and email of the contact. And then I'm going to create a drill down. We'll call this case. And what we're going to do here is we're going to pull in the cases under my contact. So as long as the contact ID is the same, it'll pull in those cases. And we'll just throw a couple of fields, maybe the number of my case, the status of my case, and let's say the subject of my case as well. All right, so now my power table is all configured. Just make it a bit bigger. And the last thing I'm going to want to do is enable my Lightning Web component and make sure that I'm passing that correct variable. There it is, and I'll hit save. Now it's time to go to Salesforce. I've got a contact right here, Albert Adams. I'm going to go ahead and I'll edit my page here. I'll add a tab. We'll use a custom tab and we'll call it Titan Power Table. And then, oh, that didn't work. Titan Power Table, done. And now I can actually throw in my Titan Lightning Web component here. And this comes standard out of the box when you download our package. And here I need to add the URL to my project. So I'm going to go ahead and publish. I'll grab the URL. I think we were over here. And we'll throw in that URL, and you can see it's already loading up over here. And I can just hit save and go back to my record. And there it is. Of course, this could use a little bit of styling. Yeah, like the other one. And I can see these cases under my contact, no problem.
Yeah,
that's and just this can be built anywhere.
Yeah, you just built that in probably like 2.5 minutes, and now like this contact record is a lot more robust to use.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was saying, you can have it exist on, on the specific contact page. We can have it as a tab up here. We can also have it on the home page like we configured over here. And this really can just make your Salesforce users' lives a lot easier. They don't have to jump around between a million different records. They can do this all in one place, whether that's just to view data or to update data. Either way, it's just a really, really nice way to make that experience a lot better.
Totally.
Cool. So with your permission, I'm going to move on to my next project here.
You have my permission. Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so here I've got essentially a cell phone plan selling company. You can imagine that we sell different plans to families, and you can create your plan, and let's say I'm the account executive and I don't really have access to Salesforce, and they don't want to pay for a Salesforce license for me. Or maybe just I'm not that technically proficient and I have a hard time operating within Salesforce and I need something a little bit more simple. So, my boss made this for me, and it's this really nice power table where I can see the account name or family name of the plan. And under my account, I can see all of the family members that are on this plan and their phone number. And if they have an email, their email. And perhaps they all even have some cases related to their phone here as well. So I can, like we've been demonstrating, show all that right here, no problem. But what if I didn't just want to update or edit records that exist already? What if I wanted to create a brand new record? I'm on the phone with Mr. Jameson, or let's do Mr. Connor in this case, because I think he might have fewer kids. And I want to add another phone line right away. So I can click here on this button, and I've got here a form embedded into my power table here. And of course, this can be any form that exists in Titan, we can embed right in here. And I'm going to go ahead and do Page Connor, joining the family page. And I can add my contact. And now you'll see here that here she is, Paige Connor. And I can actually go right over to Salesforce and search for Paige Connor. And she's right here as well with the data that we just created. So, you know, this is just one of the many ways that you can use the Power Table by adding what we call an iframe, or, you know, putting in this form into my Power Table. And just like I was able to create a contact, let's see if there are any. I see that there are no cases under Karen Schuster. So let's say I wanted to add a case for Karen Schuster. So in this exact same way, I can say maybe that the phone screen broke. And I'll say that the status here is brand new. And this is a fairly low priority. And I heard about this over the phone, and I'll create that case. And you'll see that now this case is here. And of course, if I search for this case in Salesforce, I might have to add some zeros. There it is. And here's my case with my subject and all the data that we filled out. And of course, you can, you know, have anything in your form to make sure that you're presenting the data that you want, giving your end user the ability to create any kind of record, any kind of object. Of course, it doesn't matter whether that's a standard object or a custom object in Salesforce. This can all be done using our Power Tables.
Wow. Now, like when you said iframe, was this just like a form from your Titan environment, or like can you add any iframe?
So in my case specifically, this is a page on my project. So I have not this one. I believe it's this one. And so we have two different forms here on my project. And these are the forms that are essentially sitting inside my Power Table over here.
Gotcha.
And I'll go ahead and actually show you how that can be done. And, you know, Paige, you asked a great question. Does it need to be specifically these pages? Does it need to be from within my project? Can it be a different project? The answer is it can be anything. It can be a different project as long as you have a URL, or, you know, or if it could be an internal page in your project, you can add it to your Power Table. So let me show you what that looks like here. So I'm just going to bring in account, and we'll say that the SLA is not empty. And let's bring in name and SLA. And let's bring in we can do this in a lot of ways. Let's call it for now, video. And what I'm going to do here is, instead of doing a drill down to another record or to another table, I'm going to do it for an iframe. And here I can either choose an internal page if I had another page on my project, or I can do external and throw in a URL here. Let's grab this, for instance. Sorry, it's still Lightning Web Component, so it's disabled. Okay, and now I've got this other web page right here in my Power Table. Let's make it a little bit prettier and make it a little bit bigger. And I'll also can configure the size of my actual iframe here. Sorry. And of course, all this styling, you know, everything's customizable, colors, sizes, you name it, we can do it. That might be a good height. And now let's take a look. That looks a lot better. And we can even view this little YouTube video inside here on Power Tables. And so, you know, this is just a taste of what you can really accomplish here in terms of being able to drill down and, you know, see a lot more. If I wanted to, you know, have a dynamic web link from an account, I can do that as well. And when I drill down, that would pull up the website from my account. All of this is possible. So really, like Paige was saying earlier, let your imaginations run wild. If you have a doubt about whether something might be possible, feel free to ask, and we'd be happy to either demonstrate or answer how we can do this.
Yes, we love the challenges too.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's move on. It's now time for us to ask you guys, what questions do you guys have? Any ideas that you guys would like us to run through? We're really happy to use this time to empower you guys to take the tools that we shared with you guys today and use them to create really, really cool solutions for your company. So I'm now going to look at the chat, and I'll start from the top because there's a lot of good questions that I wanted to answer them. I want everyone to hear them so that we can assist you and everyone can learn from it. So let's start from the top. Can we select from email templates before we send email? So I believe this was in response to my first example where I had a button that said send email. And yes, you can absolutely have that be an email template. Instead, you can have several email templates. I believe you can also send email templates that already exist in Salesforce. So lots of options to make that even quicker for that end user. I just didn't fill that out in my example, but that is 100% possible and preferred. Okay, can we do bulk changes? Yaron, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I think we demonstrated this a little bit in the different ways that we can do these bulk changes. There's this nice feature called quick edit mode, which we saw in a couple of the power tables today, where I can, it looks more like an Excel sheet in that I can kind of bounce around between the different fields of different records, and then with one click hit submit. Paige also demonstrated how we can just simply inline edit without that bulk submit, and both are possible and kind of fit different use cases. But yeah, absolutely, we can make bulk changes.
Awesome. What sort of control would a non-Salesforce user have? The yoga instructor example, and would it be a license specific?
Yeah, so to this question, essentially whoever's setting up the project on Form Titan, their permissions is what's going to set the ability in general. So if you have your Salesforce admin doing this, and you want the end users to have a more limited capability, meaning you want them to not be able to update every single field. So as Paige demonstrated as well, you can select which columns in your power table are editable or not. And so this way you can make sure that your end users are not editing what they shouldn't be editing. Maybe you don't want them to edit the contact name, but you don't mind if they edit the contact's email, something like that. So that's of course possible when you build your project and you build your power table. Just make sure to only allow editing for specific, for specific columns. On top of that, we can actually set conditions on our power table to allow inline editing in certain cases, or allow editing in certain cases. So let's say only if they fill out a certain thing on their form, then suddenly they're able to edit. This can also be a variable on your project that, let's say I sign in using our Smart V technology, I sign in as a user. And so now only, because I'm a specific user, now the condition has been set that I can then edit my power table. So really you have full customization of who can edit what and when. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, that was good. Well said. Let us know if you have any more questions around user access. Okay, someone asked, I see you're using Titan Web primarily. Is it recommended to use this instead of the Titan form interface?
Yeah, so I would say in general, the Titan Web interface is a lot more robust. You have a lot more options in terms of styling and making it look nice. There are also some functionality differences between web and forms. Web is only available for our enterprise customers, so that's something to note. Not everyone will have access to web, and I mentioned earlier also the power tables exist in Titan Web. So if you want to use those, you should be switching over to web. Absolutely. I'm a strong supporter of Titan Web.
Same. It changed everything for me. Okay. This is similar to the questions beforehand. Controlling visibility or editability on the power table based on a value for that record. Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Paige demonstrated with the coloring of different records based on conditions. So we can create conditions on our power table to show or hide columns based on different values. So let's say, the opportunity amount is over $30,000, then I can see the probability, and otherwise I wouldn't be able to see the probability, something like that. You can definitely do that as well.
Yeah, very well said. How does it look for licensing for external PowerPoint or Power Table users?
So in terms of licensing in general, you need someone who is a user who is building the power table. But once you have that published project, I can send you my power table from today and you can start using that. Of course, if I want to be careful and make sure that only certain people can edit and things like that. So, I would set up some kind of smart V login system to make sure that the right people are logging in and only the right people can edit that data. But anyone with the link can use that power table and edit data in my Salesforce. So of course, it's very important to make sure that we have all those security things set up. Maybe you want two-factor authentication with your smart fee. All these things, of course, possible. But anyone who has that link at the end of the day and can log in can edit records using the power table.
Yeah, it's really, really powerful. Can I display appointments in a power table for my customers?
Yeah, absolutely. You can display appointments, any data that you have in Salesforce, you can display in a power table. That power table can live in an external link, like a project, and you can have that sent to your customers, or you can even embed this on your website, and they can see whatever it is, upcoming appointments, things like that. As long as they log in and we know who they are, then we're able to get their appointment information and we can bring that into a power table as well.
Awesome. What about like a summation row, like a summary row at the bottom? Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, one of the features in the power table is the ability to have this summary row where we can either count number of records, we can sum up records, we can get an average for, let's say, a numeric field, we can average those together. That's also possible as well.
Cool. Can we have buttons in a power table? Like, can I show my cases, and if open status, then allow closing, but not show it if the case is already closed? Kind of putting that together. Does that make sense to you?
No, you'll have to repeat that one. Sorry.
Okay. Can I have buttons in a power table? Yes.
Yes.
Can I show my cases? And then if the status is open, that makes sense. So if the status is open in the case, then allow to make it closed. But if it's not, then showcase already closed. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. You can, display, you could either choose not to bring in any closed cases into your power table in the first place. You can set a condition when you run that original get on your power table to say, hey, I don't really care about my closed cases. I only want to see open ones. Or you can, close cases, update any of that information. You can close cases with the click of a button, or you can do it by inline editing record field. Either way, you can do that.
So we got a good suggestion. Do you want to share your screen so as we answer these questions, you can kind of show around a little bit where it's at? Because a lot of these things really are just like a checkbox for this. So I'll stop sharing my screen so that if we can share while we talk about it, then that might be a little easier for everyone.
So yeah, absolutely. We had a question about summary row, by the way, earlier. So just to show that summary row right here, and I can, these aren't good things for summary row, but if I had a numeric field here, then I can also display, how I want to sum that up, and I can, just simply count my records. You could do this in any way really that you'd like, and you can add prefix before that, postfix after, and really style that summary row however you'd like as well. Here you can have just like a string, number, date, time, and we can format these things as well, all possible.
Really cool. Now, how can the columns be dynamic? Like maybe can we show a column because of a certain login, or do you have any ideas for?
Yeah, so for like a login, I'd say like the easiest way maybe to do it. Well, first of all, we have in general, if we head over here to our user access, we have something called access control, where we can actually set up specific profiles for different types of users and make sure that they're seeing exactly what we want them to see. Beyond that, we can also, one solution to this might be to create a custom variable on our project, so that when someone logs in, I know some information about that person, and then based on the value of my custom variable, of my static custom variable, then I'd be able to set a condition on my power table to say, if that custom variable equals whatever, then I want to hide my video column. Otherwise, I want to show it, something like that.
Yeah, totally. Do contacts need a unique email address to make Smart V work? That's a really good question.
Yeah, it does not. You don't need to use email as the, this is not exactly a power table question, but we'll answer it anyway. You don't need to use the email as the field to sign in using Smart V. If you want them to, they need to get the email for two-factor authentication, let's say. So then there'll be an email on, let's say, their contact, and you can send it, but they still don't need to actually use their email to log in. You can use any field on any record to set as your Smart V, and they can log in using that. So if you want to log in, with contact, and we want their last name to be the field that they log in with, and that's it, that can be done as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the goal is just to find some unique record in that object. So a lot of the times it's email that works, but sometimes people need to drill down a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, we got a few other questions. Can we have a validation rule on the start and end time columns in the table? I guess it's like a condition. Like,
mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you mean by validation rule? Is there any more clarity on the question?
I'm thinking it's like conditions. Like, can we set a condition for like a date range for what results are brought back in a power table?
Yeah. So again, when we set up our power table in general, we can put any conditions here that we want that make sense to bring back the record. So you can say, I don't want to bring back records that don't fall within a specific, range, and we can do that. Yeah, so that would be like Paige is saying, done through conditions when we're doing our initial get of our power table.
Mm-hmm. And it can be like start date is equal to last month or something like that, if you'd like.
Yeah, like start date is less than last, yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when we update the records in the power table immediately, when that happens like live, can we Control Z, or how can the user like prevent, I guess, mistakes in editing?
Okay, so one cool feature here is on the bulk edit or the allow quick update. We have this discard button right over here. So what that essentially does, and let's just take a look at it. I haven't enabled any editing here, so let's just do that quickly. So let's say we can edit the account name. And let's say while I'm editing, I decide like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense, I can hit discard and that's just going to revert right back to what we had earlier.
That's really cool.
Mhm.
So are there any other questions in the chat? We can also look back at the ones that we didn't get to show and see what we might be able to show with the last 12 minutes.
Yeah, I just want to make one correction to what I said earlier. There is a version of web available to our gold users, not just enterprise. It is limited, but for those of you who are gold and want to give web a shot, I absolutely recommend testing it out and seeing if you like it. And if you want to kind of unlock all those features, you can move on to the enterprise level. But on the gold level, it is available as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually quite a lot that's available on the gold level. I've really enjoyed using it with some of our customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it still has a lot of functionality, and really the interface is really nice. And you know, forms is really, of course, very powerful, but they're, especially in terms of like the UI, there's a lot of advantages with web. So I definitely recommend it.
Absolutely. Someone's giving some, I think for validation rule, they mean a value rules. For example, the end date must occur after the start date. If the end date is before the start date, show an error. Oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can also set column value rules for each of your columns just the same way. And that'll be good, like if you have a user who's editing and wants to actually, you know, try to make, you know, put a date in that doesn't really make sense, preventing them from doing so and preventing them from actually being able to edit in that way.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Cassie, for that explanation. That was really good. And a good question for whoever asked it. While we have, we got some more. Oh, thanks. You're welcome, Cassie. Okay, so let's see. Can we control the visibility or editability based on a value in a different column? So maybe we can show them that that use case with the last few minutes while we. If anyone has any other questions, just let us know and we'll stop what we're doing. We'll stop playing.
Okay, so are there more questions?
Not right now, not at the moment. So let's just show how you can set the column,
okay.
Like if you can view or see a column based on a value or something.
Yeah, so basically what you can do is you can say that like if my power table value contains gold, then I don't want to see a specific column. So I actually think that we can do this in interactivity. I want to hide a column and I want to hide my video column. So this is like from, actually this did not work. Let's try it on a specific field. Honestly, that example doesn't make a ton of sense because you can't hide whole column specifically here, but let's try to do it from a regular input, let's say, and say that I'm hiding it based on something here. So let's call this, I don't know, let's just say this person's name, and we'll say that if this person's name is your own, then we shouldn't see our video field. So if our name equals your own, and then I want to configure that same action where I'm hiding my power table video column. So I'm going to go ahead here and write your own, and that hides my video column like so.
Perfect.
So for the people like earlier asking, you know, dependent on maybe it's something I fill out in my form, or maybe this is actually a hidden variable that gets kind of a value from when I logged in SmartV. Number of ways to do this, but making sure that, you know, I can conditionally hide or show my columns based on what I write here. And if I'd also done a really good job and done support opposite, then when it doesn't equal your own, it would also work. So just to demonstrate that again, if I do this, and then I do this, oh, that should have worked, but maybe I might need to do a separate condition to actually show it as well.
Yeah. That's just so cool. I think truly like this tool has all the elements that you need to customize it to work however you need it to. So that's what I really enjoyed about the power table and why it's one of my favorite elements in Titan Web.
I see one more question, Paige. Sorry for cutting you off here. Someone asked, how would it work if there were a lot of results? Can we separate that into pages? So another option here is pagination, where I can decide how many records I want per page, essentially. Do I want it to be, 10 records, 25 records, 50 records, 100 records, and making sure that I'm only limiting it to the exact amount of records that I want per page. And then I'm able to kind of jump between the pages in order to see my records in full. I think I only brought back 20 records. So this is breaking it down by 10. And I can see 25, 50, and I can jump, between my different pages. So I'm seeing, 1 through 10 now and 11 through 20 now. So that also can help you organize your power table.
Very, very cool. All right. If we don't have any, another question. Can we do search to narrow our results? That's a great question.
Absolutely. So I think we demonstrated this on one of them, but basically we have this ability to either allow a global filter, which will essentially give us like a little search bar for everything in our power table. So I can search by anything that exists here, account name, SLA, whatever would be there. Or I also have the ability to allow filtering here, and I can decide which columns I actually want to be able to specifically search by. So this is another option as well. So
and then you also have the global filter too,
I think we demonstrated quickly the global filter, but it's the same idea. This is just for everything, not specific to a column, but I can either search by a specific account name, or I could just try to pull up all of my SLAs that are silver, anything like that.
Very cool. Awesome.
Just to, I guess, before we go, may as well run through these features since we've done most of them. We can, of course, hide unload on our power table to make sure that when our site is loaded up, it's hidden, and then later maybe show it at a different point. We can use car mode, which is a really cool feature for those using a smaller device. Let's actually demonstrate it on a small device. And what this does is it kind of reformats our power table to make more sense for a mobile device, where instead of our columns being across the top, they're here on the left, and we can kind of see it all in this way, which is also nice. Of course, requires a little bit of styling to make it perfect. We also have, not on my power table anymore. We have allow selection, which I believe Paige demonstrated, where we can actually select records and then affect many records at once by selecting them and then doing some sort of action. We can also allow only selecting one record at a time when that happens. We discussed summary rows, I believe. Allow quick update, the ability to kind of, write into multiple different fields here and then submit it all at once. Global filter was that search that we addressed. We could allow resize so that, let's say we don't love the sizing of our columns. So I can actually drag these and move the sizing so that it, manually fits the amount I want. So let's say I know that I have long account names. I might want to give myself a lot of space over here. And, similar to the way that you would be able to do in Excel or Google Sheets. Auto grow is to let my power table grow towards the bottom instead of having this kind of scroll. I can have it just grow and grow with no scroll, so that there's a scroll on my whole page, but not within my power table itself. Pagination, we discussed having different pages on your power table. Allow filtering, again, more specific than global filtering, being able to select which columns I want to search by. And finally, allow sorting. I can decide which columns I want to sort things by. And what that looks like is something like this, where, you know, Paige had done it with buttons actually in her project that she sorted, but you can also sort using this little button here, which this will serve, you know, A to Z and back to Z to A, and then just no sorting at all. So this can also be done on any or all of my columns. You can just, you know, select whichever ones you want. You get multiple, and allow grouping. You can group your columns by a specific, let's say SLA. So let's say I want all the accounts. So this came in a little bit strange. One moment, gotta mess with this a bit. But essentially what allow grouping does is the ability to like, you know, group. It might be that I need my SLA in my first column here, but I can have all of the, you know, SLAs under one grouping, and then from there be able to expand it, and see all of the accounts that are under that SLA type.
Mm-hmm. Great job sharing all of the features for the Power Table. These are all like really awesome features, all inspired by our customers too. So we really try to meet the needs of every use case. And thank you, Paul, for a great compliment and comment in the section. I totally agree with you. This functionality can save so much money for companies. It's really insane how much time and money it can save teams. And thank you all for all of your questions. Let's make sure we've answered all of them. We really appreciate you guys joining our webinar today. For all of these examples, I'm going to work on creating step-by-step tutorials for all of you guys. So if you don't follow us on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe so you can be up to date on those releases. Again, I just want to thank you guys on behalf of the entire Titan team. Like, we're so happy to have you guys on board, and we thank you for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good rest of your day.